time in the stool, no session. I was in the pop, that's a confession. Then God pushed me for the pro session. Hey, hold up, watching 116 videos. Try and rap just like Minio. Whatever can't save my life. But he ain't really with the word hero.
Okay. Yeah, let me check that. But I think so. I can't look. I need to keep looking at. I need to keep looking at and off to the side.
You're right here.
Yeah, I'm talking to you right there. And just like that.
Here we go.
Sam, Jasmine. First of all, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Man, I'm doing good, man.
This is what I'm really excited about just in this time. I don't even know if I've had a chance to sit down and honestly reflect on what is going to be 25 years here for Life.Church. This is like, I know we've got cameras and lights and we're talking to each other digitally, but this is sort of my first time to sit down and honestly reflect on what we've been able to be a part of for a lot of years. I know I haven't been here for all 25. I don't know if any of us have been here for all 25. Jasmine, are you even 25 years old?
Hey, I sure am.
But it's just pretty cool to what we get to be a part of. And I know that you know this just as well as I do. But Sam, like as you start to think about the impact this church has made over 25 years, what are sort of the first reflection points that come to mind for you?
You know, it's crazy, man, to think about 25 years. I think Life.Church has been a part of my life for probably 15 of those years. And it started at Church Online. I mean, I was in California and I found out about Life.Church through Church Online. And man, like just to think back how much it impacted me in California, where there is no Life.Church location, and the way that it impacted my family and my future, it's pretty crazy to sit here and to think that for 25 years, this has been going on. People's lives have been impacted so much. And I know it just personally, it's pretty insane to sit here and just have this conversation with you guys about the impact that this place has had.
Yeah.
Jasmine, what was your first experience with Life.Church like?
Yeah. So it actually started out reading one of Pastor Craig's books. And it was from reading his book, The Christian Atheist, that I was really intrigued as far as who this person was. And when I Googled his name, saw Life.Church, and that's actually how I started watching Life.Church online. It was through the series Stay Positive. That was my first series. And I'll never forget it because it was something that I needed to hear in the moment. And so, yeah, it was from a book, The Christian Atheist, because I remember reading the last lines of the book where Craig says, you know, as a follower of Jesus, the hardest line that a lot of people can cross is giving until it hurts. And I remember thinking that as a follower of Jesus, that's the legacy that I want to leave behind. And if it means giving until it hurts, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. I know whenever my wife and I first started coming, it was 2010, so it was 10 years ago. And we had grown up in an area where Life.Church was at, but wasn't a part of the church. And I still remember the first time we walked in, almost being like a little bit skeptical, if I'm real honest. Like, is this thing for real? I've heard about it, but is it really what I've been hearing? And so we attended the location that Craig speaks live at. And first of all, I knew it was like mostly video church. But we went to the location that he was speaking live at and was immediately drawn to the indescribable passion that comes from Pastor Craig. It felt like he was preaching his first sermon and his last sermon all at once. Yeah. Just the amount of energy that he brought to it and the amount of passion and conviction. And I also remember it was the first time I've grown up in the church, but the first time obviously being exposed to it at Life.Church, but then every single week a call to Christ is made.
Yeah.
And literally every week you're seeing eternity change, like left, right, what, huh? And then you see it all happen online. Was unbelievable. And that was just a journey, the start of a journey for me and my wife of what I always tell people was just exponential spiritual growth for us from that point on. Yeah. We had relationships with Jesus, but that was really the turning point. And the thing I loved is you hear Pastor Craig talk about it all the time now, is it's a place where you can belong before you believe. And we had walked in as believers, but I was looking around across a room of people that belong in the church before they were a part of the church. And that was just something really special. You guys have any stories around that?
You know, it's crazy. I love hearing when I actually heard the story of how Life Church started and how it was that Pastor Craig and Amy went to California to visit a church out there, and they
went to your home group.
They heard a song by Crystal Lewis, who like back in the day, I mean, we loved Crystal Lewis.
Yeah.
And hearing a song, Come Just As You Are, and how that just sparked something in them, starting a church that would be a place where everybody was welcome, regardless of their past or what they look like, that they could come just as they are. And so hearing that resonated with me. But one thing that I love about Life Church was just this idea, this concept of like doing anything short of sin to reach people that don't know Christ. And I remember being exposed to that even through Church Online. Like the first series that I watched was At the Movies. And this was back in like 2007 or 8. And I watched, and they used a movie. I don't know if we're allowed to say this or not, but they used a movie called Nacho Libre.
Oh, you can say that. Yeah. You can say that.
Well, my mind was blown because I grew up in church.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're using a movie with Catholics in it. Like it was such a crazy concept in my mind that this Christian church was using a movie with Catholics in it to preach a message. And then just even being at Life Church, like finally attending for the first time, walking in and seeing people from all walks of life, just dressed differently, just coming just as they are, and hearing the message of Christ in creative and innovative ways, man. And I love that about our church. I love that you can just come just as you are, man. We don't just say it, like you see it every single weekend.
Yeah. For sure.
And cool. I think that's what stands out to me too is the fact that people can, it's not just something that we say. We don't just say that you can belong before you believe or you can just come as you are. It's the fact that like literally so many people, not just from different walks of life that are walking into our campuses, but different people from all over the world that are attending at Life Church Online. Like my family in Haiti can watch the exact same message as me. That. And the fact that my family in Haiti, while I was in Arizona or Oklahoma, like gives their life to Christ through the fact that we just have this online platform where people can come as they are in their pajamas and watch the transforming truth of Jesus.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the things, and it's easy for us to see it now because Life Church has grown to the scale that it is, but the, I don't know if I have the right word. Integrity of our leadership is one thing, but just the incredible leadership is really what it is that comes to mind. I don't even know if I need to put another attribute to it, but the quality of leadership that we get to experience now through Pastor Craig and his team. But what I love is we see that now, but going way back to whenever the idea of doing one church in multiple locations was like a phrase that wasn't even thought of before. Yeah. How in the world can you have one church but meet in different places without having multiple pastors? And the innovation that they showed early on, the risk that Pastor Craig and his team are willing to take to be able to start a ministry that has not just impact in one community, but multiple communities is unbelievable. And I know even as I became exposed to it, getting introduced to Life Church and some of the stories that we've been able to see and hear and attest to, I mean, all of us are having a conversation right now because we're one church in multiple locations. We were pulled in from all different parts of the world. And so that was just something that I think was, it doesn't seem like such a big risk now because we've seen it done. But the amount of respect I have for our leaders and for Pastor Craig and taking that risk early on is honestly absolutely remarkable.
Yeah. I think about the intentionality of the span of care, knowing that as a church, we want to be able to reach people, like you were saying, in different cities and different states, and obviously with Life.Church Online all over the world. But our leadership is so intentional about ensuring that span of care is also something that is it's just a crucial part of what it is that we do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's just like, I even remember too, and again, this was before my time, but the amount of risk, I'll be honest, I don't know if, man, it feels weird saying this, but like the amount of faith and risk it took to try and pioneer some of this. I still remember hearing stories of Pastor Bobby Grinwald and others taking a VHS tape from Oklahoma City and driving it up to Tulsa to essentially start a Tulsa location up there, which is really just a VHS tape and a TV in someone's living room. And the amount of risk and investment and just full on faith and belief that this thing was going to fly before anyone else can see it it's incredible.
It's crazy because even you think about it now, like we're still taking those risks now.
Oh, yeah.
Like you think about even in 2020, when churches are having to shut down and we're still actually like launching churches.
Yeah.
Like launching 2 new locations out of this deep sense of calling to be the church in local communities and to be there for people that are struggling and are hurting and are lost. During a pandemic, like we're still taking those risks to say, man, we're going to go into the places that people need the love of Jesus. And it's still part of our culture. We're still willing to do whatever it takes to reach the lost. Honestly, like that's the thing that brought me to Life.Church and that just keeps me being here. It's this passion for lost people, this passion to see people know the hope and love of Jesus. And like, we're willing to do whatever it takes, go wherever it takes. And I love the fact that it does. Like you walk in and I hear this a lot from friends, like, hey, it's a big church. Like, how do you make connections? How do you connect with others? Yeah. And man, that's probably the thing that I love the most about our church, that even though we do have a lot of people that come to our churches that are part of our church, and there's still this focus on the one person, just making that one connection with individuals and taking care of each other and having community and being in life groups and connecting in our communities. Like there's this deep focus on not being a mega church, but being that micro church, being a church that is all about that one person. And I love that about our church, man. I feel that. I feel loved and cared for as an individual. I feel like I get opportunities to be involved in community, to have friendships, develop relationships with church family. And that's one of my favorite things about our church family, man.
Yeah. It still feels like, even though it's big as a church, I think Craig even still leads this way of like, he probably still feels like it's a church in his garage, that it's just, we're just getting started. I mean, he says all the time, we're just getting started, but it really is that passion for the one, passion for the lost. The same thing we do day one is the same thing we do in year 25. Mission's the same, methods change, but the mission is the same.
The mission is the same. The sense of urgency is the same because like the mission just doesn't change. It's still about, like you were saying, Sam, the one person hearing about the message of Jesus so that their eternity can look different.
You guys both got connected through Life.Church online, and I think back all the time. Those are some of my favorite stories to hear and then to tell other people about, is around that time when our online presence started to grow. And at the same time, we started developing a app that gives the Bible away for free. The Bible app was there, and we're giving all of our resources away for free. That was really of a period about 2 to 3 years there that, again, leadership just stepped up and said, this is what we're called to do, is to be outrageously, irrationally generous, never losing a sense of knowing where we came from in a 2-car garage, and understanding that there are pastors out there that are trying to do the same thing in communities we can't reach. And again, the amount of risk, the amount of faith, the amount of just like, I don't know, we can't pay the bills right now. I know that that's what they were feeling. We have this asset in our hand we could make money off of, either an app or our resources or this church online platform that we've got. And I can't tell you how much respect and how much I honor our leaders for just saying, this is not about us. This is about the global church. And it's about seeing these people over here and over here with me in heaven whenever I get there.
It's crazy, Jonathan, because actually, like, that's actually the way that I got introduced to Life.Church. In fact, it wasn't First Church Online. It was actually through a magazine. An outreach magazine that listed Life.Church as the most innovative church in America.
No way.
Had Craig's picture on the cover. And I found out that they were giving the resources away. And I was pastoring a church in California.
No way.
A small church. I was bivocational. I was working full time, not getting paid by the church. I was one of those pastors that got the free resources. And this is how irrational it looked to me, because they were giving the resources away. And when they said, we're going to give them away, I started downloading everything. Like I got an external hard drive, like the big ones, and I started downloading everything because I thought,
they're going to change their mind.
Get smart and they're going to start charging for each one. I'm going to get it before they start. And guess what? To the day we still don't charge, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, to your point, the irrational generosity of our leaders in our church, but even personally, like in my life and seeing the example of our leaders in our church and how that's impacted my generosity and the way that I get to live that out and I get to give.
That's it, man.
And contribute, and the blessings that my family has received because of that irrational generosity. It just goes throughout. It goes from leadership. It goes through our church. It's who we are. We're irrationally generous. And God, you just can't outgive him. And we see that in our church over and over, man.
As you guys think back, what are sort of, even in just your time here, what are the things that have stood out to you just in recent years that have made a difference in your family? I just go back, Sam, to even what you said too, the way that our leaders have lived out generosity has made a personal impact in me. Jess, what are some of the things that the church has done that's made a real big impact on you and your family?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I mean, it's like I mentioned before, the span of care. I got married after I started attending Life.Church, and
you met your husband at Life.Church.
I sure did.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
sure did. And it was like the dating process, the people that were there helping to invest in me as we were trying to put up the right boundaries. And it was as we were getting married and after marriage, and then having our first baby, and then our second baby who was born premature. And it was, really throughout the course of these last 5-6 years, it's been the span of care that has meant the most to me, because I'm then yet again reminded about the one. It's not the one because it's Jasmine, it's the one because it's a child of God. And just as people were invested in me, I know that, at all of our campuses and Life.Church Online, people are taken care of. And that's what stands out to me. It's just the intentionality of caring about the person.
It's so good. Yeah. At the movies, the first time I attended Life.Church in person was at the movies. And the movie that was being shown, again, I don't know if we're supposed to say the names of these movies, but I'm going to say it anyways. It was Up, the cartoon, the animated film. Up. And there's this one scene in the movie where they depict the couple having a miscarriage. And Liz and I were in that service, and 2 years prior, we had just had a miscarriage. And what happened in that message and how Pastor Craig came out and ministered, like, it spoke to us as a couple. It ministered to us in our pain. And man, to see that happens every single weekend, where people are met right where they're at. And to your point earlier, how you talked about what Pastor Craig did, like how he spoke this message, and he's been doing it for 25 years. He's been delivering a message from God of hope and of healing for people. And to me, like, walking through that message, receiving healing, even helping, supporting our marriage, like, our marriage is so much stronger now because of the investment of our leaders and the message that Pastor Craig brings. It's changed our marriage. And really, when we look at our kids and all the things that our Life Kids curriculum does, like, our kids are learning who they are in Christ right now, and their life is changing. And so when I think about the impact that Life.Church has had on me, that Pastor Craig and Amy and our leadership has had on me personally, it's not just with me, but it's my legacy. It's my kids, my children's children that will be impacted by it. And it's so powerful to just look at God work through our leaders, man.
Yeah. I know that it's very similar to that. I think about the legacy changing thing as a dad of 2 kids. And, adoption is a big part of our family now. And I know that that's become close to the heart of Pastor Craig and Amy, especially as they've led, and sort of their leadership that's been an influence that's very directly impacted our family in a big way. And I do think about the times that we use the phrase it almost feels like it's overused, irrationally generous, but I'm a person that by nature clings to life with a clenched fist. what's in my control. And I know Craig has shared openly about that's part of his past and his journey. And the thing I've learned is that whenever I try to clinch on too much, that's my indication to give more away. And just the differences that it has made. Our marriage, like you said, is stronger. Our life group that's been there for us through all the celebration, all the ups, all the downs. I still remember the life group we were in right now had 2 kids, and I think now we have 87 kids in our life group. It's outrageous. But it can't be understated the amount of impact that it's had in my family's life and in my life personally. And there's something just deeply satisfying knowing that I get to be a part of a church that has thousands of people that are like us, that have been impacted in such a big way. It's, we do see big numbers and those numbers are hard to wrap our head around. But whenever you personalize it and think that there's, 300,000, 400,000 life change stories just like ours is pretty special to be a part of.
Absolutely.
And the fact that it's happened for over 25 years and it's going to happen for another 25, 50, 75.
Just getting started.
I don't know. Craig's going to figure out ways to just beat time. I think if someone's going to beat down Father Time, Craig's going to do it. I think it's going to be it, and just keep this mission going.
Hologram technology.
That's it, man. We'll freeze them. We'll do whatever we need to do just to keep it going. But anyway,
so good.
I loved having a chance to just sort of reflect with you guys.
So good, man.
And just so looking forward to what's to come.
So good.